In the past, when I was applying for a lot of video editing jobs, I tended to put more effort into my resume than I would my demo reel. And recently I decided to give my old resume a bit of a facelift. So here's 5 changes that I made that I think will help me on future jobs, and I think they're gonna help you too. One of the first big changes that I made was making multiple versions of my resume. Instead of trying to have one perfect resume that checks all the boxes that will get me my perfect job and that works for everything, I tailored them for different kinds of opportunities. I made a version geared toward YouTube video editing where I could highlight content creation and storytelling and fast turnaround skills. I built another version for social media video editing where I could show off short form content and platform specific strategies. I created a UGC focused resume, otherwise known as user generated content, to highlight my experience in authentic, relatable content creation. I made a corporate version where I put the emphasis on consistency and brand alignment and professionalism. And finally, I have one for video manager roles that shows my leadership, project management, and team collaboration as the focus. Having multiples in different areas means that I can reply quickly to opportunities as they come up, rather than me needing to scramble to craft my resume to each and every role that I might apply to. So if you're building your resume and you're having trouble either prioritizing which jobs should sit higher on your resume, or you have multiple different kinds of roles that you're applying for, kind of like me, it will definitely be worth it for you to take the time to create multiple resumes, and it will save you a lot of time in the long run. So this next one was a huge mistake I didn't realize that I was making. My old resume was designed in InDesign and it looked beautiful, but I had never tested out the text to see if it was recognizable by a PDF reader. And this meant that potentially some of it was not going to be read by AI machines. So for my new resume, I first designed it in Canva because I like Canva and I find it easy to design things in there. Then after I designed it, I decided to download it as a PDF and double check if it could be read easily by Adobe Acrobat. And I found that it couldn't. I found that it was selecting text in a strange way and it was not properly highlighting the text. So I feared that it was not actually as readable as it should be. So then I decided to convert it to an Adobe Express project, which really seemed to do the trick. The text became a lot more readable. There was only some small adjustments that I had to make to some fonts and sizing. So after I did that, I downloaded the file from Adobe Express, then opened it back up in Acrobat to double check that it was reading more properly in Acrobat, and it was. Everything was highlighting a lot better. It seemed to be actually reading the text and knowing where it was. And so now I feel more confident that every word in that resume is searchable and recognizable. So why is this important? Well, because a lot of larger companies use a program called an applicant tracking system, also known as ATS, to filter resumes before an actual human sees them. It makes their resume processing process faster, essentially. Well, the con of that is that even if you are the very best candidate for the job, if your resume is not readable, it's very possible it's just going to get thrown into the trash virtually by this applicant tracking system. So optimizing your resume for PDF readers is absolutely essential. If we haven't met yet, I am Colleen, and in this channel, I help you to get a video editing job and I help you get paid doing what you love. For me, that's video editing. So for more tips on that and just to support my channel, I'd so appreciate it if you can hit the like button below and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And for more details on all of my Skillshare classes, my newest one being all about mastering your niche, as well as to receive a free month of Skillshare, you can learn more in the link in the description below. Another change that I made was adding a direct link to my portfolio right on the resume. I think this is really critical for all video editors because your demo reel is definitely as important as your resume. And if someone is looking to hire you, they're kind of going to want to see both at the same time. So it just makes it easier on the person viewing your resume if they can easily click this link and it takes them directly to your work. They can view both your resume and your work at the same time. And you can do this pretty easily through Adobe Acrobat if you have access to it, simply by editing the PDF, selecting the area that you'd like to add a link, and then copying the link to your portfolio photo and it will add it directly onto the PDF. I also removed an entire section of my resume. So in my older version of my resume, I had a big section listing every piece of software and gear that really I had ever touched. Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, Avid, cameras, audio gear, you name it. And I can kind of understand why I did that. I think at the time I needed to prove that not only did I have access to these things, but I knew how to use them. And I felt like I needed to prove that I had all of this knowledge when really, I don't think companies really care about that.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
At least from my experience and the roles that I've applied to. I think employers care less about what program you use and more about the results that you can deliver to them. And then finally, I trimmed down the amount of work experiences that I presented to the viewer of my resume. Instead of cramming in every job that I have ever had, I decided to pick the 4 max most relevant roles and built more strong achievement-focused bullet points for each one. It keeps my resume a lot cleaner, easier to read, and focuses more on what matters with whoever might be hiring me. So have you used any of these tips in your own resume creation? Or do you have your own advice to share to other beginners? I'd love to hear all about your own tips or your questions down in the comments below. Again, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more tips on video editing and freelance lifestyle. Thank you so much to my team. Again, I am Colleen and I will catch you guys in the next video. Have the best one.